Greetings and welcome to another impressions video here at Words About Games, and today we're going to be looking at The Flower Collectors. The Flower Collectors is a first-person narrative adventure game set in Barcelona in 1977, which was a political powder keg due to the country holding its first free election since 1936, following decades under a nationalist, single-party dictatorship. You play as Jorge, an ex-cop who was wheelchair-bound after an incident 2 years prior. One night while out on his balcony, Jorge witnesses a murder and, determined to solve it and uncover the motives behind it, teams up with an idealistic young journalist called Melinda. The Flower Collectors is a simple game, housing a complex narrative that takes a raw look at fascism in 70s Spain, and by doing so makes itself terrifyingly relevant to the modern world. The game takes place on the backdrop of huge social injustice and inequality. You're initially drawn into this world thanks to Jorge's sense of duty in solving a murder that happens on the street that his balcony overlooks. But the deeper Jorge gets, the more he has to reconcile his own past as a former cop who was complicit in the brutal repression of minorities, artists, and anyone else deemed an enemy of the nationalistic state. Because of his injury, he was forced to retire from the Policía, and now he gets to see what the world really looks like from the outside. The story that The Flower Collectors tells would have been an interesting one without such a personal connection, but playing as Jorge elevates it. It's about a man who has to reevaluate his own values and beliefs when he sees how the world really works. It's a compelling character arc told in a really interesting way, thanks to the unusual way the game plays out. Because Jorge is wheelchair bound, you spend your time in his apartment or out on his balcony, interacting directly with precious few characters. There's the idealistic left-wing journalist Melinda, who comes to your apartment after the shooting and teams up with Jorge to figure out why the shooting happened. But you spend the majority of your time observing the residents of the plaza from on high. While you never directly talk to most of them, you do get insights into who they are and learn a lot about them. There's not a great deal to it. You spend a lot of your time as an active observer, watching the game unfold below you. You're given either a pair of binoculars or a camera. Some of the time you're merely watching the movements and actions of other residents, trying to piece together what they're really up to from afar. Other times you're guiding Melinda across the small town square, helping her evade police patrols, searching buildings, and talking to other residents. When it works, it can be fairly engaging, but there's a jankiness to the game that can break your suspension of disbelief at times. Guiding Melinda around the plaza to avoid police patrols, for example, should be at least a mildly tense experience. The idea is to have Melinda move around when their backs are turned or their attention is elsewhere, because the last thing she needs is to get noticed by the cops. But it doesn't matter. At one point, she walked into one of them, their animations both awkwardly attempting to push through each other as they both tried to walk their pre-assigned routes. It's pretty obvious that there's no real way to deviate from the story. Regardless of timers or perceived danger, Melinda is going to be fine no matter what. It's the same with the investigation itself. Truth be told, you don't actually do all that much of the investigation yourself. You're given a set of objectives, which usually consist of finding something from your vantage point, guiding another character, or simply observing something happening. This is how Jorge and Melinda gather clues to try and crack the game's central mystery. At the end of each chapter, you've got your collection of clues, represented by sketches, documents, and photographs, and you're tasked with creating a timeline on an investigation board hidden behind a world map in Jorge's apartment. But it's not something you can fail or get wrong. If you put the wrong piece of evidence in the wrong place, you're told it's incorrect and invited to try again. Rather than be an active participant in Jorge and Melinda's investigation, you're merely following along with the narrative. Which is fine, it's a good narrative and a well-written story. I was hooked enough by the premise and cast of characters that I always wanted to see what the next twist was, but those moments of supposed tension or investigation can feel a little cheap when you realise your input is barely required. The Flower Collectors is a really interesting game. It's got a fairly unique hook, tasking you with conducting a murder investigation from your balcony, relying on the help of another person to do the legwork. And the story it tells is a compelling one, offering a personal look at the horrors of living in 1970s Spain under the last death throes of a nationalist dictatorship. While some of its gameplay elements feel a little undercooked, the narrative is strong enough to make this a game that's well worth checking out. Thanks very much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it or found it useful, consider sticking around here at Words About Games. Our content includes review impressions of games big and small, a weekly podcast dedicated to discussing the happenings in and around the games industry, weekly opinion videos, reactions, debate-driven top 5 and top 10 lists, a regular Hall of Fame series where we discuss our favourite games, and indie game spotlights. We also stream every Friday and Saturday at twitch.tv/wordsaboutgames. Most importantly, have a brilliant day.